I'd like to call to order this session of the Chelmsford School Committee. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening and welcome. Thank you for your patience. This meeting is being recorded and televised by Chelmsford Telemedia. If there's anyone else present who is recording or planning to record this meeting, will you please so indicate at this time? The first item on the agenda is public comments. This is a time for the school committee to hear public input. We welcome public comments, but it is not a time for questions or debate. Personal attacks will not be tolerated. Is there anyone here who would like to address the committee at this time?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Ben Cole, Brick Hill Road, President of the Chelmsford Teachers Union. As President of the CFT, I request that you bring up the following concerns when you present the budget to the Finance Committee and then to town meeting. As you're well aware, the budget which was approved included cutting not a fifth grade team, but 2 fifth grade teachers at McCarthy. In section 10.3, our contract, which we are all bound by, states that if there's to be a reorganization, the superintendent will call a general meeting with all bargaining unit members to report on reorganization plans, grade alignments, and any other potential changes anticipated in the coming school year. That's verbatim from the contract. Such a meeting was never held. Furthermore, the contract states that during the second and third weeks of March, there will be postings of all system-wide positions that are affected by reorganization and approved of in the budget. Said meeting has yet to occur. I think it's 7:30 on the 31st. Furthermore, the contract states that, instead of cutting the above, we're asking you not to, obviously. On Tuesday, March 17th, grade 5 teachers were blindsided when they were informed that a 5th grade team was proposed to be cut. Again, I say the 5th grade teachers because it wasn't just 2 at McCarthy. It was every 5th grade teacher in the district. The 5th grade teachers whose positions are proposed to be cut have hence been informed that they would, quote, get another job in the district due to attrition because they both have professional status. There's been no further communication with these teachers about the upcoming retirement positions for which they would be designated to, according to the contract. And since March 17th, we've learned some unsettling information about these proposed cuts. At the Chelmsford School Committee meeting on March 17th, Dr. Tiano stated that the reduction of a grade 5 team was not due to reduction in budgeting, but due to a regular enrollment review. The fact is that the projected number for incoming grade 5 students is nearly identical to the numbers we presently have. This projected number does not include new transfers that typically show up at the end of August, the beginning of September. The 2014-15 numbers for McCarthy had an increase of 19 students, not a decrease. Furthermore, when these 2 positions came up last year due to retirements, at no point in time was it ever even implied that these positions had the potential of lasting only 1 year. And again, at the school committee meeting on March 24th, it was mentioned that there's been a trend of declining population of school-aged children in Chelmsford over the last several years. We question why Dr. Tiano allowed these grade 5 positions to be filled. At the very least, Why weren't the teachers who applied for this transfer made aware that these positions were fluid, that they weren't static, that they could be cut? Had they been informed of this crucial information, the affected teachers would have then been able to make a more informed decision about their careers. Should that scenario repeat itself, grade 5 homerooms would have 27 to 28 students next year. And this doesn't include life skill students. That number does not include the life skill students that go into the homeroom and are part of the science classes. So you could be talking about a 30-to-1 ratio in a 5th grade class. And it also doesn't include what the number of students with special needs will be in that class. There are state laws that talk about the teacher-to-student ratio when students with IEPs or 504s are involved. We have a tradition in this town, in this school system, of providing quality education for all of our students. At school committee, you're in a position to keep class sizes reasonable for the youngest of our middle school children at McCarthy. We'd like to offer our sincere thanks for the work that you do here, that you do on the school committee, and we truly appreciate you taking a stance to protect the children and students of Chelmsford. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Sal Lupoli, 47 Grandview. When it first came to light of the 600 plus thousand, 618, I think, that the school board looked at, school committee looked at in decreasing the budget to get to the 52.4 that we needed to, I realized that it involved the 2 McCarthy teachers that are here today, Danielle and Linda. I would urge the board, on behalf of the students, to go back and find a way, or go to town meeting, and let's, as a coalition, fight for those 2 teachers to increase our kids' classroom sizes to north of 25, 27, I think would be a hardship on the children. I think what we need to do is be united like we were told we could be transparent like we were told we would have, and let's fight for these 2 teachers that have their lives at this point in a little bit of a disarray. Going back to the union president's statement, I'm sure if these 2 teachers knew potentially what the option could have been, I'm sure they would have looked at it quite differently. So I hope that this board and our community can build a little bit of a coalition and fight for these 2 teachers. Although there was also a music teacher and teacher aide involved in this, and there's more than just these 2 teachers, but for tonight, I'd ask the board to take a look at this and fight for Linda and Danielle. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the committee at this time?
Hi, Anita Tanini, 8 Columbus Ave. As you know, I've done this many times in my career. I've had budgets that come up and they don't meet the target that they're supposed to meet. One of the things in corporate America that we tend to look at immediately is the technology line. Just like people, when they get into debt, they go a little bit over. Instead of buying that, redoing those capital expenditures, redoing a family room, or buying that flat screen TV, we put that off a couple of years. And when you guys went through and did the line items, technology wasn't touched. I'd like you guys to, before finalize this and go to town meeting, is to go back, revisit, go through each contract and see where you can save money. I bet you can find that. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the committee at this time? Okay, seeing none, we will move along to the first and only item of old business, which is the DOR letter. As you will recall, this committee considered a proposal to write a joint letter to the DOR with the Board of Selectmen requesting a financial analysis of town and school operations. It seems that the language that this committee passed was not the same as the language that the Board of Selectmen passed. Most critically, the board's request to the DOR includes the word consolidation, and ours does not. After a series of discussion with the chair of the Board of Selectmen, she and I felt it would be most expedient for this committee to consider new wording. You have in your packets a copy of a revised copy or a new copy of the letter which Chair Wojcik and I are proposing to send to the DOR. If the committee votes in favor of this language tonight, it is the letter which will be sent. If the committee rejects the language in the letter, it is not as clear what the path forward would be. One possibility would be to write separate letters. Another would be for the new committee and the new board to take this matter up after the town elections. So, with that as the starting, have you got any comments?
I'd like to make a motion so that we can discuss this letter.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we reject the letter as written. It does not reflect the discussions that we had as a school committee with respect to a consolidation review. We agreed to a review but did not agree to the consolidation language.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Well, I think since we are rejecting this language, I guess that the other option is that if there was any other wording, we could propose that, whatever that language would be, if we agreed to it to the Board of Selectmen, or we can do what you suggest, is that after the election, then address it. So there's still may be other language, but if they're dead set on having consolidation in there and having the statement that you made, then I guess it's the way that it was worded, plus kind of leading the DOR down the path, I don't think that that's going to work.
I was just going to add that when the motion was made, I made the original motion, just so there's no question of what was said, with the word consolidation in it, and it was a point of discussion and purposefully taken out. So there's, in my mind, there's no question about what the intent was of the discussion, and the motion was passed.
I think if the letter were more reflective of what actually occurred at our meeting, then I might be able to back it, but it is in stark contrast to what we discussed and our motion. I have revised it. If they want to have further discussions, I'm willing to put my revisions in front of them, which more accurately describes what occurred in our meeting on whatever date that was. I don't remember.
February 24th.
So the letter says, it was unanimously voted at the Board of Selectmen meeting to request that the Division of Local Services conduct a town and school finance analysis to include a feasibility study of the potential consolidation of the financial operations of the Chelmsford Public Schools with the Municipal Finance Department. I don't have any problem with that language. I think that's the whole point of the financial analysis. That's what we're talking about. I think if people don't go for it, then we don't go for it. I don't have a problem with that, but I mean I don't see any reason not to. This is the request of the DOR doesn't bind us to anything. We can listen to what they have to say, and then we can reject it.
Okay,
or we can
let's take out
adopt
that consolidation language,
this
and that's great.
This was a conversation that Chair Wojcik and I had about this, and the intent of the Board of Selectmen is not to write a letter without the word consolidation in it. So
Differing intents, then, I would say.
it appears that we have differing intents.
I invite a review. I invite a review of our procedures, any way we can improve our system. I have talked to the town accountant, I've talked to the town treasurer. No one agrees with the consolidation. We can go forward with this letter. It would be a falsehood as far as our committee goes. We did not vote to review for consolidation. We vote for
right,
review.
I think we haven't voted yet. right?
I believe.
We made a motion to request a financial analysis.
Correct, but not for consolidation.
I agree. That's why
the language.
this language has returned, because the intent of the Board of Selectmen is to request a financial analysis, including a review of the feasibility of consolidation.
If that is one of the
So-
recommendations that they make after doing the feasibility review, then I think we need to consider it, absolutely. But I don't want to frame their review in advance. I don't want to go in there saying, we want you to tell us, is feasibility something we should consider? I want them to look at what we have in place, how can we improve it? What did we do wrong?
I don't want to limit with what they would do. I think that you have 4 bullets that's there that kind of directs it on the path to consolidation. The other thing that has caused me a little bit more concern is the fact that you had it dropped, the concept dropped at a joint meeting in January. The next thing, it became an agenda item on the Board of Selectmen, and then the approval letter, and we never sat down with the Board of Selectmen or FinCom to have the discussion if we even want to go in this direction. So we're working independently of one another, and I think that we may be able to arrive at maybe something we could agree upon if we all sat down and discussed it, or maybe we wouldn't. And part of the reason that the DOR requests the motions from the Board of Selectmen and the school committee is because in many communities, the Board of Selectmen or the city council wants to consolidate, and the school committee doesn't want to do that. That doesn't mean that if the DOR comes in and reviews, that we can't sit down face to face with them and say, these are the things we'd like you to take a look at. But in a letter, it kind of sets the tone for what it is they would be doing. And the other question I have is, when they did do the analysis of the town finances, why didn't they recommend it then that we consolidate with the schools? They came in and did a whole analysis of the whole financial situation then. Most of the reports that are online for the DOR and the different towns and cities are of the towns and cities. They're not of the schools. And they will recommend, or they don't recommend, and that's one of the line items that they have in many of those reports that you can read online. And if we don't need them, if we want the DOR, that is, if we want to do any kind of consolidation, whether it's the finances or it's something else, because you have a lot of other towns that choose that on their own by reviewing it with the people that are the stakeholders, the people that are going to have to do the job. And I don't know why we would have to have the DOR come in and tell us what to do, when I think that we have highly intelligent and educated individuals within the town to sit down and see what the feasibility would be of actually accomplishing this and what it all means. And I think we should actually have the discussion before we go forward and do another type of action that may hinder them being able to do their jobs appropriately.
I guess I would just like to add that I would hope that we can get together and resolve this letter situation very quickly, because, as has been briefly mentioned, they can come in with any recommendations they want, and if we like them, we can take them, and if we don't like them, we can reject them. So to hold up, the procedure of asking this group to come in over, a few words, it would seem to me that we could work that out and get this going.
Okay. Seeing no further discussion, we will proceed to a vote. The motion is to reject the letter as written or as presented. I have a second. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Nay. Motion succeeds 3-1. Motion carries. I guess we'll see where we go from there. I will inform the chair of the Board of Selectmen. We have no field trips, I believe, tonight. We have no policy tonight. Press questions. Any press questions? No press questions tonight. Time being 7:43, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.